Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I'm still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. So please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a launch for 2023 in stainless steel and tungsten, a 2009 piece limited edition. This is actually the second of the Oris Aquis Dat series. So this is the Aquis Dat Edition 2. The first came in 2021. For 2023, we have a different dial look and a watch that is still very much dedicated to conservation of the Watt and C. The timepiece is one of the larger Aquis models at 43.5 millimeters in diameter, 13 millimeters thick, and 50.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it does fit. It's large. I would not recommend it for a wrist smaller than mine, but it fits quite well, and it is actually thinner than I would have expected. Now you can see down the barrel, this is always the definitive angle. The lugs are not over the edge of my wrist. So I recommend this watch for a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference like mine or larger. There's your over-the-top shot and the cuff shot one more time. Now, the watch comes on a lovely full bracelet, which is integrated, and you can see that the junction with the case is fixed by screws and bars, which is an upscale and more secure fashion than a spring bar setup, but you will have to use a proprietary strap or bracelet if you want to accessorize. We have a little bit of a taper down from the lugs to the clasp, and you can see a combination of satin and polish. Well, you can also see that despite the accessible pricing of Oris timepieces, the removable links of the bracelet are fixed in place using screws, not pins and sleeves. That's something I like to see. And you can see that there is an intermediate sized link on each side of the bracelet in case you find yourself in between sizes. You have some sizing flexibility. There are also 3 pairs of divots drilled inside the clasp, so you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside the clasp to fine-tune fit. And then, this being a dive watch and 300 meters water resistant, you have a fold-out dive extension that you can use to put it over a wetsuit or a dry suit. Thick gauge steel here in a combination of polish and satin, twin trigger release. You have to press both or it won't open, so there's a great deal of security. Single swing arm in massive thick gauge steel. Then we roll around to the case where the Aquis has always had a different kind of shape than the Seamasters and the sea dwellers and submariners of the world. As you can see, the lugs are stepped out rather dramatically, and you can see that the case itself has a little bit of negative conical profile. So instead of being wide at the bezel, it's wide at the case back and actually narrows toward the bezel. So the bezel is polished, the case flank is satinated, the lug hoods are polished. We have a large Oris crown that's media blasted and polished, screw down crown of course, and then the crown guards are fixed in place using screws, so if you gouge them they can actually be replaced. We have a wonderfully precise and tactile 120 click unidirectional rotating dive bezel that has a brushed scratch resistant tungsten insert for a nice tonal contrast with the steel of the case. Let's do a Lume shot real quick. And you can see that all 3 hands are loomed, including the seconds hand, so you know your watch is operating in the dark, something I always consider to be critical on a dive watch. And then you can see you read the minute hand against the bezel, and you have a 0 to 60 count up timer. On the reverse, you can see a little representation of the Watt and C, which is an enormous unbroken tidal flat, the largest in the world. And it is an intertidal zone in the North Sea that borders Germany, the Netherlands, and Denmark. And sustainability and conservation are important to Oris as a company. They have a lot of lake, river, sea, waterborne conservation efforts, and this is a long-standing interest of theirs. So some of the money from this watch when it was new went to a good cause. And the timepiece is, of course, themed to reflect the colors of the marshlands of the Watt and Sea. So we have this gradient from dark green to a sort of sky blue from the marsh up to the sky. We have applique rhodium-plated hour indices and matching rhodium-plated steel hands. We have a little orbital date indication. You can see that the watch does include a stop seconds or hacking function. And then there is a quick set mechanism, so you can rapidly cycle the date if you wish to do so. And inside there is a Sellita SW 220-1, which is Sellita's version of the ETA 2824, bidirectional automatic winding with a 38-hour power reserve, quick set date, stop seconds, 28 pivot joules, and a 4 hertz beat rate. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am T Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.